we're going to start with just Hazel saying hi, because that's what she wants to do. She's wondering why I set up these candles. So Hazy, you want to say hi? Say hi, everyone. Oh, look at this nice indigo one. Oh, it looks like a pencil, but it's a beeswax candle. And there's a purple one.
Yes.
Yes, and here's a yellow one. And here is an indigo or darker purple one. Okay, so we have blue, light purple, yellow, and darker purple, right?
Yes.
All right. Say bye. You say bye on there? Bye.
Yes.
Okay. Hey. She got a little spicy there on us. Now she's going to tell her dad. So this reading is going to be about how to apply fair relating to the situation that you have in mind. Okay? So if you don't know, if you didn't have a relationship in mind when you clicked on this, take a moment to think of one. You can use different picks for different ones. And it's basically just going to be some information to reflect on. And we'll see, I'll probably stop and start recording when she's a little bit more calm and happy. I have some house guests, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so as I said, the reading's about how to apply fair relating to this relationship. Now, some people are not familiar with what I mean when I say fair relating, and that's a fair thing, because it's a fairly new concept that I'm introducing here, and it's basically a way of relating that replaces the old paradigm where imbalance can easily come up in relationships. And I'm actually developing a course on this right now, so if you'd like to look into it a bit more, stay tuned for my course. It'll be up on my website, or you'll be able to reach it through my website soon. Probably I might need up to a month on this one, because I've been working on a few courses simultaneously, and it's either that one that's going to go up next or the self-sabotage one that's going to go up next. That background noise is just the baby finding her wooden puzzles. So basically, fair relating, when applied to any relationship, should balance out the energy. So if there's dysfunction and discord and unfair things going on in the relationship, then this would be the way to balance out that energy and allow all parties to be treated fairly. Okay? So if you've taken a moment, you can, like I said, apply different choices to different relationships, and this is information just to reflect on. Like, what we're doing is relying on your own intuition to decide if this is pertinent for you, relying on your own intuition to decide if what I say is pertinent to the situation. Okay, so you'll want to check in from within yourself to know if what I'm saying is true for you. Okay, and we're just, bear with the background noise. She's just playing with the puzzles. I'm not going to stop her. She's having fun. She doesn't put the puzzle pieces in the puzzle yet, but she likes to stack them all up and, drop them again. Alright, so let's see what's going on. First we'll see who's in this relationship, then we'll see what's going on in the relationship. So the background noise, the other background noise is my son. He's in the other room. They're just visiting, and so he's having a conversation in the other room, which isn't that pertinent to us, but we'll see if anything becomes pertinent to us, right? You never know. I have this issue where I'm pretty good with having my boundaries closed off with the general public or people I encounter. I used to have an issue where I would absorb anyone's anything. Like, my boundaries were so broken and weak that I had real issues of being overwhelmed out in public and just, like, not I was so clouded and didn't know who I am that I didn't know if I was like experiencing someone else's something or my own something. And I know there's people that don't believe that there are people who absorb other people's stuff, but I know it's true because I've actually not just absorbed emotional stuff, but physical ailments. I've actually absorbed them and healed them from myself. And I'm talking about several times throughout my life where I literally just visit somebody and then I absorb the illness. Like I visit someone in the hospital and then I leave and then have to be hospitalized myself with the same ailment. Like that happened with autoimmune hepatitis. So what are the chances, right? And because it happened with several other illnesses, I took notice of the pattern and understood that I needed to correct my boundary issue. But I still have a bit of an issue with my family members, my close family members, like my children and grandchildren and my mother. I notice I still kind of absorb their stuff. He says, damn it. Oh, I don't know if you heard the F word, but I usually try to refrain from saying it in these readings. But so anyway, I just noted earlier that I had heartburn. And it was so weird for me to have heartburn because, I mean, maybe like 15 years ago I might have had heartburn, but I've changed my diet, and the way that I eat is, I don't get heartburn anymore. I mean, that's pretty like crazy for me to have heartburn. And I mentioned that I had a bit of heartburn, and because he was looking at me and I had a kind of a sour face on. And then he said he's had really had heartburn. And so then I realized, oh, I absorbed his damn heartburn. So this is an interesting thing I've been going through, and I don't know why I was, called to share that with you. Pick one, but maybe it's relevant to you, maybe it's something you can relate to, and maybe it's something that's going to be relevant in this relationship dynamic. So let's see what the cards have to say. Let's look at, now I'm going to look at both people. It could be a group of people, but we'll see as the cards come out. But if it's reversed, if I'm describing you and it sounds like them, just, reverse it. So let's see who you are. Who you are in this relationship. You're a giver. You are maybe inclined to kind of keep to yourself. You might be procrastinating. You might have not a lot of like drive to go out and do things right now. Maybe you're needing to rest a lot because you've given a lot and it's been imbalanced in some way. Maybe like me, you have this issue where the outside or the other people affect you very much, and so you've kind of noticed it, and the way that you're dealing with it might be to withdraw and take some time to yourself. Yeah, I feel like you feel held back. Maybe you've been putting in a lot of effort with not a lot of payoff. So if we apply this to a relationship, it looks like maybe a one-sided relationship. Maybe you got your heart broken. Maybe like you've been dealing with somebody who hasn't wanted to progress the relationship. Or you don't know where you stand with this other person. There's going to be a little bit of shaking while I shuffle because I'm sitting on my bed. And also the background noise is just Hazel. We met her in the intro. 10 of Pentacles. This other person is doing well. They might be a family member. It's someone who's successful. It's someone who could give to you, right? It could be your whole family unit or a community of people. They may have started to hold back from you in some way and kind of just withdraw their energy. This person may have started withdrawing their energy and look in the other direction. Someone you've known for a long time. Oh, wait, let's see. Yeah. The card, I thought it was going to be possibly in reverse, so I was going to say maybe it's someone you just met, but I flipped it like that, and yeah, it's upright. So 6 of Cups, it's someone you've known for a long time, maybe someone you grew up with, maybe it is a family or a family member, and you've known them since childhood. It could be a child. It could be that your child has withdrawn from you a bit. Yeah, for some of you that's true, that it's your child. Oh, and there I was talking about my relationship with my son and my boundaries issues of absorbing other people's stuff. So it could be something like that where your child is kind of withdrawn for that reason. Okay. Someone that's usually very driven by their own passions, their own drive, and that they have a lot of ideas and usually there's a lot of activity with this person. So for them to withdraw, I think is different. Okay. It could just be someone who's an introvert that you are related to. But someone who keeps to themselves about what it is they're planning to do, and who seems really too busy for you now. Let's see what's going on in the relationship. Let me get this hair off the board. I realize you probably can't see all the cards there. I'm just mixing up the oracle here. Okay. Maybe it definitely. Okay, maybe definitely. That's interesting that I said that. Perhaps. I had these cards facing me, by the way, so I'm going to continue with this facing me. Perhaps other people have been involved, like they've withdrawn from you, but maybe are still using their energy towards other people. There's been self-expression. There's definitely more indication of this being a child or children. Like they're still celebrating. There's still reason to celebrate. So maybe you're being excluded or something from the celebration. There's some sort of restriction. And you're seeing kind of the other side of someone where you didn't expect them to be like that. You didn't think it was like that. Yeah, you're seeing the truth of a situation, and it's different from what you thought. And maybe this person is, maybe you feel like they're being selfish, or maybe they're being like, just really trying to focus on themselves. Maybe not to a selfish degree, but just to a normal degree, but being very self-expressive. And it's a definite change in the relationship, like something, you grew to this point. So perhaps you're growing apart in a way, right? You know, sometimes when we have fulfilled our soul's contract together, even if it's family, we drift apart a bit. But sometimes it's just that we grow at different rates, so we come together and fall apart, you know, according to that. A brother. This is brotherly love, Philia. In 1 year's time. So this change could have been happening over 1 year's time, where one person, and it's probably you, who's been kind of doing a lot of shadow work and introspection and looking at themselves more deeply, and kind of you've been taking some time to yourself as well, but maybe you feel like it's because you don't have direction, whereas this person does. This is someone that you really trust, and yeah, it's the completion of a cycle. Okay, that's what's going on in this relationship. There's a completion of a cycle, and the cards don't say, and maybe I suspect that since I'm not being asked to look into it deeper, I suspect that it's different for different people on whether or not this means the ending of the relationship. Okay, so here's how we can relate. We can add fair relating to the relationship. I'm going to actually pause and get the baby out of the bathroom, and then I will be right back to talk to you about it. Okay. The baby's safe out of the bathroom, don't worry. She thought it was so funny when I opened the door to find her there. She squealed with happiness. Hi. She's come over to say hello. I'm busy talking right now, okay? You can't touch it because this is my computer, remember? You gotta be gentle. I know, I understand that's frustrating. Okay, so we got communicate using I statements. So this is how to do fair relating in this relationship. So, you know, when we use the word you, when we're talking to somebody, you know, it's an accusatory manner to address somebody. And lots of people can be offended by that. Okay, so if we restate whatever we're saying to use I statements, you know, formulate the sentence using an I, begin with an I, like I feel this, or I wonder that. This takes off that aggressive, threatening kind of accusation, which may or may not have been present in the Inquisition, but this assures that it's not taken in any other way. Then we've got be a fool. Now the fool is innocent. The fool is willing to go where others won't go, willing to say what others won't say. And the fool doesn't know what's going to happen, but is willing to take a risk. The fool is a pioneer. Okay, so you're going into unknown territory here, right? Because you've ended one cycle, you don't know what this person is like now. You're going to need to observe them. You're not going to need to see what it's like now. Okay, and be a fool. You be willing to do that. Be willing to not go by what used to be because you feel that it changed. You know that it changed. Allow that to be the case, and now find out what's new from here. And then the next card is surrender. You can only control your response. Accept how you feel fully. So maybe if you feel sad that things aren't like they used to be, you can't control how the other person is, so accept how you feel fully. Accept I am sad. Accept I am mourning. Accept I have grief. Accept I don't have the friend that I had in the way that I had them. I don't have the relationship I used to have with my loved one. Okay? Accept how you feel fully, and this way that you don't have to act in ways that avoid you feeling it, right? You don't have to stay busy so you stop thinking about it. You've accepted it. Like, this is the reality. The reality is that something has changed, that it's not how it used to be, that a cycle has ended. And however that means, and for some of you that is the ending of the relationship altogether, and for others of you it's just a new phase of the relationship. So accept how you feel depending on what the case is. I'm going to get one more of these cards. And two came out, so we're taking them both. Forgiveness formula. Accept how you feel first. Be with your feelings. So we just talked about that. You're halfway there. And then accept how they feel. Okay, so only after you accept how you feel is it appropriate to then think about how they feel. You won't be able to see how they feel clearly until you accept how you feel first. Because if you don't accept and balance out the energy within you first, then you'll always be looking at them through the lens of your own unaccepted feelings. Okay? And when we have unaccepted feelings, then we are sometimes trying to do things to avoid feeling them. So we tell ourselves a story about how something is, and we don't end up seeing as clearly as we could. And the last card is celebrate how far you have come. Okay? So when you have spent the time to surrender, to accept how things are now, celebrate everything that's happened up to this point, that you survived all that you have, that you learned what you did, that you've come this far. Like, remember beginning of this relationship what it was like, and all the experiences that you had were valuable. You learned something from them. There was wisdom gained, especially in the ending here. And it's important to celebrate how far you've come. And this solidifies the foundation of where you're at now so that you can build upon something solid going forward. So that's an important step. And this is how you apply fair relating to this relationship. Of course, this is all information for you to reflect on, see how you feel about it. Only take what is true and resonates as a remembrance for you. Okay? That's really important. And that is going to complete your reading. Okay? I hope that's helpful in some way. If you need a private session to reflect, you can check out my website. I also have some courses offered there, and I did allude to offering courses, but besides the ones I mentioned, I have some others there that are already up. And personal sessions are available. So either way, perhaps we'll see you in a future reading, and thank you for participating. Okay, pick 2. You chose the light purple candle, and this is your reading. We're looking at how can you apply fair relating to this relationship. Now, the first thing we're going to do is look at who you are and who the other person is, or who the other party is. And if these are reversed, if I'm describing you and it sounds like I'm describing the other person, then just reverse them, okay? So after we look at who is present here, we're going to look at what's going on in the relationship, and then how can we apply fair relating to the relationship. If you want more information about fair relating in general, you can listen to the introduction and stay tuned to my website for an upcoming course that I'm currently developing about that. Okay, who are you? Who are you in this relationship? You are someone who has a lot of change going on in your life right now, and this is causing you to, I feel like you don't want to move forward. It feels like something's forcing change in your life, but you'd rather stay comfortable if you could. And perhaps your heart has been closed down. There's a decision you have to make that should be made, that you want to make with your heart, but your heart is not speaking to you right now, and you feel torn, and the decision that you're trying to make is you're trying to reason it out, you're trying to think about it, right? You're trying to use logic alone to make a decision that needs to be made through your heart's consideration, but your heart is not available, and because of this, you're not moving forward towards a change that is pressing on you. Okay? Let's see what's going on. Who's the other person in this relationship? The other person is a well-established, financially abundant leader, secure, maybe a businessman, a wealthy person perhaps, someone very disciplined, someone who knows how to take care of themselves on Earth, someone who could be a Gemini.
Hello.
Hi there, Hazel. We're just talking on the recording right now, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, my sweet. I don't want that cracker, but thank you for the offer. She's just giving us some of these Cheez-Its, which we don't eat, but thank you anyway. You enjoy those, okay? Okay. And I'm going to go back to my reading here. Okay, so this other person is a loving person who also has a decision to make, who is more balanced, though, between the masculine and feminine energies that are available to them to make the decision. And,
No.
you do want a cracker? Okay. I was going to put her crackers down and she was in protest. She's like, wait a minute. We got the High Priestess here. This other person is intuitive, perhaps making their decisions through their higher self. They're being informed by their intuition to take the actions that they need to make, that they need to take. So this person's almost in opposite energy of you, and that's very interesting. So it's like you're being mirrored to each other in a way. This other person is very courageous, confident, passionately driven. Yes. This person, hi again. This person is driven through what they're inspired to do. And they're not afraid to take the steps to do it. They're secure enough and confident enough to do it. They're very independent. They are competent when it comes to social endeavors. Interesting. But that just threw the Eight of Swords in there. Wow. But beneath the surface, this person is suffering from some negative thoughts. They are feeling stuck too. This person is also feeling stuck. It's self-imposed. It's like something they know is keeping them restricted. Something they know is keeping them restricted. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that means they have a limiting belief. Okay, so all that's going on, right? A competent person who does well for themselves and moves forward passionately, you know, not afraid to make decisions, balanced in masculine and feminine energy, so they're listening to their heart, they're able to be creative, they're able to be tuned into their intuition, but they have a belief that is limiting them. Something they believe about life has them held back. Okay. That's too many cards. I just want to get a couple more, maybe. Well, maybe that might be enough. We'll see if anything else is going to come out, though. Alright, one more. Oh, yeah, Justice showed up the first time when the cards fell and it was too many cards. This is Justice in reverse. This thing that they believe that's got them stuck, they're not holding themselves accountable for it. They're not taking it into their own hands. They just feel a victim to it. They just feel like that's the way it is. They're not questioning their own beliefs. They're just so, in a way, they're cut off from their intuition without even realizing it. This person does not even realize that something is unfair, inherently unfair about how they're operating. So when they're this successful, somebody's losing out. And they may not know it. Something feels off, but it's not strong enough for them. It's not what drives them. So they're not paying attention to it. What's going on in this relationship? Let's see, we've got truth. So let's get some more. What's going on in this relationship? Sagittarius, higher learning, higher meaning, long distance travel, progressed composite. So the relationship has graduated to some sort of next phase. And things are being accepted as they are. Like, the truth of it is, what? Spirit, what? That there's a higher purpose to this. There's a higher purpose to this relationship. Okay, we talked about how both were mirroring each other. Perhaps there's something that you can learn from each other. There's something you're both trying to learn from each other. But you're both skeptical about, I heard each other. You're skeptical about each other. 3 weeks is the time period that's coming out here of relevance to this situation of relating. the ways you feel are pretty solid. Like, you've been stuck in this way of being skeptical for a while. You've accepted that you're skeptical, but see, like, this person's not, they are not doing anything about their skepticism or looking into it. They've just accepted it. Like, that's what it is. I'm not sure about that, so and you are maybe waiting to be in a position where your heart can open so you can listen to your heart. Yes. Okay, so the purpose of what's going on right now between you, the skepticism, I suspect is a projection for both of you. You're both projecting onto each other because this is Chiron. This is the wounded healer. So instead of healing your own wounds, right, your blocked heart and your limiting belief, you are just projecting it onto each other. And when really it's for the purpose of taking it back in to yourself and committing to doing that. There's love here. You two love each other. And it's like you're both content to stay with it how it is. I think you, because you know that you can't make a decision until your heart's open, so being content is the atmosphere you need to let your heart open, right? You have to heal from some overthinking and some fear about change and moving forward. And this person might be content without love. Their limiting belief might be around love. But there's something trying to bring you guys together. You've been shot by Cupid's arrow. And the situation has been moving forward even though it hasn't been moving forward by the movement of you guys. You guys haven't moved it forward. But there's new things being learned in this situation. So perhaps you've already healed a lot of layers of things and now you're just at this point. Yeah, it's taken a lot of drive to get to this point. Like, a lot of things have been disrupted to get to this point. And the truth has brought you here, and now we've got Gemini coming out. So we mentioned Gemini before, and it's definitely relevant in this situation. Okay, so Gemini is looking at a lot of different angles, right? This other person could be a Gemini. Both people could have a lot of Gemini energy, and you don't have to be a Gemini, but you could have a lot of Gemini energy. Gemini's like this thinking, right? And also, I would imagine if you're a Gemini that once you have a decision made about something, it feels comfortable to keep it, because since there's always to think about a thing, you can't always be thinking about everything in all ways, right? You have to decide to live by something. So it's not wrong for this person to have adopted what they believe. They just don't realize it's limiting them yet. They just don't realize that. And perhaps it's this person, you, who's willing to open your heart that is going to actually shift the energy in this to start it healing. Maybe, let's see. How do you apply fair relating to this? Sometimes it's easier to love from a distance. Now, this makes sense because we talked about these two people projecting onto each other, right? And if you have pain and you don't know how to deal with it yet, you find a placeholder for it, and that's where projection comes in as humans. And this is saying sometimes it's easier to love from a distance, and that's because if you guys are not in each other's space, then you know that by projecting it onto that person and saying it's their fault, that can't even be true. You can't even lie to yourself that way because this person isn't even present, right? So this is how the universe makes you take the projection back off of the other and look at it within yourself. And you're both just accepting that this is the way it is right now. We got apologies are in order. So you'll know best who needs to apologize, right? Like if you know that you need to apologize, then there you go. If you know that you're owed an apology, then this is them saying yes. And I really do recommend not letting it slide when apologies are in order, because Apologies indicate something's changed. Apologies indicate something's healed. If there are no apologies, then nothing has been healed. And the wisdom has not been gained from the issue, and it will probably just come around again. Okay, so when apologies are happening, it means that the issue's been looked at, right? And feelings have been accepted, and things have been moved through. So perhaps if this person is closed off from love in a way, and they led you on, or something that broke your heart, something that closed your heart down, or maybe your heart was never open, but without your heart being open, maybe you stepped on their toes, maybe you acted in a way that was demanding or hasty or expectant, right? Those are all kind of unfair relating dynamics that can happen when this is the case. So let's see what else the deck has to say as offerings for us to reflect on in this situation. The love fell. Isn't that interesting? The love fell as this card that says, "What would love do?" came out. Wow. What would love do? Love would like fall when we shake the board. Okay, so maybe that happened. Maybe this love has been shaky. Maybe that's why no one wants to trust in it. Maybe that's why no one wants to move forward. It's like, what would love do? Maybe that's not been considered yet. Maybe love would jump at the chance to tell you and show you. What would love do? This is what you're doing. You're trying to figure that out because you're ready to let your heart open before you make any movement forward. And this person, in their thoughts, might benefit from asking what would love do, but you don't have any control over them. So you have to do it. What would love do? Love would include you in the equation and honor you. So if an apology is in order and it's owed to you, then love would keep you at a safe distance so that you can open your heart, not in the presence of someone who's going to hurt you or dishonor you. Hi.
What?
Very nice. I got to read this card now, okay? And this card says, "Be an example." What is the example being shown to you? Oh, isn't that interesting? So here's the projection. What are they an example of to you? What do you see? What do you see them as? Right? Like, you could be projecting on this person saying, "Oh, they're so stubborn," or "Oh, they don't value me," or "Oh, they don't even have a heart," right? Those are projections. So do you value you? Are you stubborn? Do you have a heart? Maybe you might be questioning whether you have a heart since you know it's not open at the moment. Isn't that interesting? And then what example are you being? So you know they're projecting onto you, but what are you really? You only have control over what you are really, so what are you being? Perhaps you are being someone who is willing to consider what would love do and taking the pause to let your heart open before you proceed. And is that the example you want to be? That sounds like a lovely example to be, a very fair example, in fact. 2 more cards here. Anger requires space. Okay, so if you're getting angry because this person has led you on or something like that, or if they are angry at you, give them space, right? They need to work through that. You don't have any control over them. They deserve to have the space. Anger requires space. If you're angry, you take the space that you need, right? To work with you, to be with the parts of you that feel that way. Are you angry because of this thing that needs an apology, right? It needs space so that people can think about and understand what's going on. And then receive a deep breath. Receive a deep breath. That's the final advice for applying fair relating to this relationship. So let yourself receive a deep breath, right? Doesn't that feel good? As you exhale, you release the stress, the anger. You accept that it's okay that you feel angry. You don't need to act on it. Anger is present, requires the space. Okay, now remember that these are just pieces of information to allow you to reflect on the situation and apply where you feel it's relevant to you, where you feel it's true for you, where you feel it's helpful for you. This is all up to you. And I know that you seem to be waiting until your heart opens to make any decisions to move forward. So I understand why you would want to take these moments to reflect on something outside of you, and I hope that you find it helpful for that reason. And perhaps we will see you in a future reading, Pick 2. Thank you for being here. Hi, Pick 3. So we're looking at how to apply fair relating to this relationship. And the first thing we're doing is looking at who is in this relationship. We're looking at who you are and who the other party is. And sometimes these can be reversed. So if I'm describing you and it sounds like the other party, just reverse them. We'll take a look at who each party is, and then we will see what's going on in the relationship, and then we'll look at ways to apply fair relating. You are maybe feeling a little reckless. You could be holding yourself back. You could be taking risks right now. Like anxious to act with all this like courage and confidence and feeling independent and determined. But you're doing this from like a passionate place where you're kind of inspired. You're feeling really on top of your game. You're also very, very much endowed with abundance, financially secure. You may be working parent. You're very practical. So it's interesting that even though you're a very practical person who's financially abundant, that you have this part of you that you're holding back or that is taking risks. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's like you've waited a long time for something and you just don't want to wait anymore. You feel frustrated, so you keep kind of like acting out in these kind of like spontaneous ways. And it looks like you may be resisting an ending. Okay. Well, I got the picture of like perhaps there's like a relationship that's ended and you keep like just giving in to the urge to reach out and like reestablish communication in something that's ended. You're really a competent, well, likable, courageous, independent, socially adept, determined person. So it may be hard for you to understand why this relationship has to end or something like that. And yeah, you really don't want this to end or something. Like there's something like that. And it could be even like a job that you've been at for a long time and that you don't want to give up. So you keep doing it, but you know that you've got to make the decision to let it go. It could be that for some people. But other than that, it's probably a relationship. And here's the other person. The other person is feeling like they lost something big. They lost a lot of love. The other person is watching you. Maybe there was a third party, or maybe you have a child together. Maybe you're seeing each other when you have to do like visitation kind of switches and things like that. You maybe don't find them trustworthy. They may not be that trustworthy. They may be kind of scheming. They may be trying to control things that they can't control. Yeah, they may be stepped back to like strategize in a situation or something. Like what they lost, they know they lost something valuable. Now, the reasons they lost it, remember those, okay? Because I kind of have the sense that, like, if this person is like that and they're trying to, maybe they would take you back, right? Like, maybe this is a dysfunctional relationship where this person is like a love bomber and someone who would hoover you back up, and like you may be addicted, because I can remember being in a relationship where I felt this like urge to kind of reactivate it because I wasn't fully healed, and reactivating it allowed me to see the places where I was weak, and then I could heal them. So I'm not saying any of this is wrong, right? It's up to you how you utilize the situation. This other person is, yeah, perhaps put you in a third-party situation where they prioritize something else over you. Could have been someone else altogether. It could have been partying. It could have been a community. It could have been a job. Definitely, they put their heart somewhere else. And they are strategists. And they are not that generous. They're very stingy. Kind of stingy. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, that's the word that comes out, and it's a little harsh. They're not willing to share of themselves, at least now. Maybe they did in the past. Maybe they don't have anything to share. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe not, though. Oh no, they didn't lose their job. They have plenty. They may have even prioritized their job. They have a plan. Yeah, they have a plan, and I don't think it involves being very generous with their heart or their love or their money. Okay, interesting. That also could fit for a job, right? Like a job could be just not paying you enough, right? And you know it, and they're working you. And it's like they're doing really well, but they're not paying it forward. They're not valuing what they have. They're not like able to compensate you for what you're worth. Okay, so but if we applied it to a relationship, it's like, because it'll be different for different people, but in the relationship sense, you could say that too. Like, this person is not reciprocating to what you deserve in a relationship, and you've still found yourself wanting to be involved or something like that. Let's see. We've got the time period of 1 week, 12 days, or 12 weeks. Solidified feelings, stress, creation. So there may be a child or a business involved here. Gemini, lots of thinking, strategy. Doing the same thing over and over again. Stuck in a cycle. Has tension. There's tension in this cycle. It's something your soul wanted to experience, though. You are like finding something out here that your soul wanted to experience, to evolve with. We've got commitment. Maybe that's the issue of contention. Maybe you are no longer committed if it's a job. Maybe they're no longer committed if it was a relationship. And it just moved along to this point. Like it was for a while, it was the appropriate situation to be in, and then we progressed to this point where this tension came up and this stress, and perhaps the creation of like a new inspiration, a new idea, a new, third-party relationship, or a child. We got 3 weeks. Odin. Yeah, there's someone really bossy here that has a lot of power over you. Or it feels that way. Doesn't mean that they really have that power, it just feels that way. 5 years as a time, so this may have been a long-term thing. And you may have been content for a long time just doing that same pattern over and over again. But what this comes down to, look, we've got Niobe and Lilith. Okay. So what this situation is that pride is present, and I think it's could be on both parts, but definitely I think the other person. And Lilith, right, that's the mistress energy, that's the strong independent woman energy, which I think you have a lot of, even if you're a male. It's a strong feminine energy who's independent and strong and doesn't want to, like, the mythology of Lilith said that she got kicked out of the Garden of Eden because she wouldn't lay down to Adam, you know? So it can be seen as the darker side of women. And Niobe was punished because she had undue pride in her children. And what I've seen as I've been studying this energy is that this is where we get stuck in expectations and unfair relating, is because of pride. Pride can cap us. We can be prideful in that we can call ourselves a victim. Like if you were saying, oh, poor me, this always happens to me, that's a prideful thing, making this all about you, when actually it's about their upbringing and the pride that their parents instilled in them and made them work for approval, to be loved. And now they're repeating that, and they know, I think that they know that they lost a lot with you, right? Like, they were content to stay in that, but you knew you outgrew that. You may have committed to it, but you know it's not good for you. That's bringing out this, like, restless spirit that wants to break free. It's like, I can't do this anymore. You'll be like lashing out and things like that. Yeah. Okay. So how can we apply fair relating to this relationships? Spend time alone is the first card. Now, you don't have any control over them. You have control over you. So this advice or this information to reflect on would be for you. So spending time alone is going to give you the time with yourself to get to know yourself, to be with all the parts of yourself that feel the stress and the discomfort and the rage and the oomph, right? And all of that. And there may be parts of you that are sad that you put in so much, and just like learning and being with all the parts of yourself that your soul wanted you to be with through this situation. It says mistakes are welcome for learning. So even if you did keep reaching out to a situation that you knew you outgrew, it's okay, right? You learned something from every time you did this cycle. Every time you did this cycle offered you a new view of the same thing. You got to know it very well. You're very adept at understanding a lot of angles of a situation like this. That will be useful for you in some way going forward. Surrender. You can only control your response. Accept how you feel fully. Okay, so surrender that you can control or change the situation, or that you even want to. You can turn your focus back in on yourself. You can only control your response. So rein in that risk taker if you'd like to, right? And she's welcome to be with you. Accept how you feel fully. Accept that she exists. Accept that there's a part of you that will rage against it, that will take a risk, that will be reckless, that will really push on the places that this person poked in you, right? So just surrender all the fight, surrender the resistance, and then tend to how you feel about it. There's some mystery in this situation. Get good with the unknown. Get good with knowing that you don't know all of it. Hi, Hazel. Mwah. Hazel has come to blow me a kiss during this reading, so I'm going to take that as an indication that you should love yourself. Right, Hazel? Always love ourselves. Yes, she shook my hand for that. All right. And she's hugging me. I love you. Yeah. Thank you for checking on me. Now she's going back over there. Okay, creative solution. Create a new solution. Okay, so you've witnessed other women in this situation, if you're a woman, or other people in this situation in relationships that were maybe like hard to get out of, dysfunctional in some way, addictive, right? Create a new solution. Use your creativity. There's something different and new that you can do from this situation now that you know what you know. You've seen it from a lot of different angles that other people may have not seen it from, right? And then the last piece of advice is break the pattern. So you've seen the pattern, you know that you've been doing it, it's been repeating for a while, and you're no longer content in it, even though you were for a while. Now, in order to break the pattern, you noticed it, you acknowledged it, right? Validate it, like understand why it's there. Why are you in this pattern? Really contemplate the answers to those questions. And accept that you're in that pattern. We talked about accepting how you feel fully, but accept that you're in the pattern. Accept that you were in the pattern. Accept all the time that you spent in the pattern. Maybe even forgive yourself for being in the pattern. And then love the part of yourself that was in that pattern. That right there will break the pattern, because the pattern involved you going to them for the love. The pattern involved you seeking outside of yourself for what you need. Just giving yourself what you needed is going to break the pattern. And keep breaking it. Every time you think you needed to go to them for what you needed, now you get to give that to yourself to break the pattern. Okay? Establish a new habit. This is probably a very difficult situation. I know that you're a spunky, adept, independent, courageous, confident soul. But what this tells me is there may be a part of you that's your inner child that needs rescuing, that grew up rough, that grew up with not everything he or she needed. And it's just time for you to nurture and love and rescue that part of yourself, so that part of yourself can join you and be with this wholeness that you are, that has everything else handled, right? And it's because you are so able to handle everything else that this is coming up to heal now. It would have hidden from you if you weren't ready to handle it now. This is coming up now because it's the time, right? You've handled all the things. You know what to do. You're competent, aware, and wise enough to make the changes that will make a difference for you. And this is just information to reflect on. So only take what is true for you. Only take the angle that was offered that is like a remembrance to you, that's true for you, that's helpful to you. If it's not helpful, if it's not true, just let it go. And don't take that as something to reflect on. Just reflect on what's helpful to you. Okay? I want to thank you for participating in this reading. And if you would like to book a personal session, you can check out my website. I also have some courses there that can help. And perhaps we'll see you in a future reading. Okay? All right. I'm going to end your reading there, and we'll go to pick 4. Hello, pick 4. So we are looking at how can you apply fair relating to this relationship. If you missed the intro, then you don't know that the background noise is my house guests, and one of them is my 18-month-old granddaughter. And she's been popping in to say hi here and there, so she may do that, and you may hear her in the background. Yeah. And what we're going to start the reading with is a look at who you are. Oh, she bumped her head. Oh, sweet pea, sweet pea. She bumped her head on the stove.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah,
you're okay.
Yeah, you're getting a little tired again. That's great. You'll go to bed tonight. Yeah.
You okay, little snuggums?
I noticed she had a pretty
She is
big
huge,
bruise
by
here.
the way. Like,
Yeah.
honestly.
One
I'm
sec,
sorry,
guys.
are you videoing?
Yeah, it's okay. So I have house guests, and that's interesting. So we'll take that as part of like whatever this reading is going to be, as like, you know, some commotion and interruptions and people getting hurt around you, you know. So we're going to look at who you are in the reading and who the other party is. and then what's going on in the relationship, and then how you can apply fair relating. If you need to know more about what fair relating is, you can watch the introduction, or stay tuned on my website for a course that I'm currently developing that can help you learn about fair relating on a deeper level. Okay. Now when I'm describing you, and it sounds like the other person, you can just reverse them, okay? Because that can happen, that these would be reversed. Okay, who are you? You are okay. You may be feeling a little bit stuck right now, overwhelmed, feeling very low, feeling like lack, like you don't have enough, like maybe even like out of control, like you don't have a lot of control over what's going on in your life, and no matter how hard you're working, you just feel like it's not enough, like you're not getting there, okay? If there is, now we have Magician in reverse, so if there are ways that you're doing like anything against others that's unfair in general, now it's possible that you are, and you're looking to make things more fair, and so I'm so glad that you came here to reflect on the options for doing so. But if there has been ways that you know that you've been unfair, that could be why you're being held back from the successes that you're looking for with all this hard work that you've been doing. Okay? So I feel like you've been working hard, and like it's just like not getting you where you want to be. Maybe it has to do with poor planning or untapped talents, or it just wasn't time. If it's not that you're actively in the energy of manipulating or trying to coerce or control others, then it could be any of these other things that I've said, where it's just not time yet, that you're learning something from this perseverance that you've had to adopt. You've gone through quite a bit of change, and maybe in an effort to make things happen for yourself, you've let things go, you've changed your ways, you've been progressively changing things along the way and working hard to do so in order to change this around for yourself. You may be doing a lot of dreaming, though, about it, thinking about it, talking about it, without actually taking the steps yet, right? It may just not have been time to take the steps yet, but if you know there were steps that you could have been taking and you chose to stay productive, to like distract yourself instead, maybe you were distracted by outside forces, right? Other people needing you, other people in pain too. You may be attracting people who would manipulate you with their own sad stories, or you may be telling people your sad story in order to get their sympathy and things like that. And sometimes in order to succeed, and we haven't been succeeding, we may be self-sabotaging ourselves. And if we're doing that, there might be a hidden benefit to doing so. And sometimes that is that we can tell our sad story to somebody else, and they will feel sympathy for us, they will feel empathy, or they will help us. So it could be that you've been stuck in grief for a long time for an ending that happened for you. It could have been someone dying, it could have been a relationship, but you may be telling people about that a lot. You may be using that as a way to gather sympathy from people. And I'm not saying this in a way to shame you, blame you, or tell you you're wrong. You're a perfectly beautiful human who's having a human experience, and if this is the experience you're having, it's the one you're meant to have. Only take what's true for you. If only a sentence of what I've said is true for you, then only take that. The other stuff is just something to reflect on, okay? Who is the other party? The other party seems to be... I think they have lost too, but they don't outwardly show that they're affected by it. They outwardly show that they are independent, they're abundant, they're wealthy, but you may not see them moving forward very much. They are actually just building their coin. They're making money. They're in business. It could be your job. It's something very solid. It's they or them. Let's see. They did suffer a loss and an ending. Maybe the same one that you suffered. Perhaps it's a breakup. But this person is very financially secure. Like, very. But they seem to be staying still. They did lose, but they didn't lose their money. They lost... Did they lose their money? No, they didn't lose their money. They lost something that they thought. Love. They lost a love. They lost a love.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, what's going on with this relationship? So, if this is a breakup, I think this breakup set you back a lot. I think you lost a lot financially. If it wasn't a breakup with this person, it was with another breakup, and like this person also had a breakup. Like you have similar situations, right? Could be something like that. What's going on? Love. Content. Maybe it's very comforting to have someone who can relate to the loss, even if they don't show it outwardly. They're kind of in the same spot as you, and just energetically you line up. You've both lost love. You've both experienced, well, this relationship is experiencing some restriction, and it may feel like a lot of work at times, like a lot of responsibility. Maybe you feel like you're walking on eggshells sometimes with each other because no one wants to, like, upset the other. But you are committed to each other. There could have been... The mythology of Corona says that she did cheat on her husband, and that did get her punished. Doesn't have to be that, right? But it could just be that there is a commitment here. Okay, there's a lot of faith, love. You got starseed. Interesting. A cycle. Okay. So you may just both be in a cycle of letting old things go from life. Old hurts. Old responsibilities. Old restrictions. And seeing things from a different way, and this is causing you to have to look at yourselves in ways that you haven't seen yourselves before. And you are having to look at the ways that you are not using some of your energy to the best of your benefit, like in your own best interest, whether it's untapped talents, poor planning, or manipulation. Like any of those things could apply, and this person may not have dealt with those deeper issues of loss yet. Okay, so those might be coming up for both of you in this relationship, right? So these pains and these ways of being may not have directly related to each other, because what your relationship is showing, what's going on here, is something that is, it's like a supportive situation where you can enjoy each other, enjoy life, while you're alchemizing your own stuff independently. Yes, a lot of wisdom. Like maybe as you alchemize your stuff, you come together and share about it. Maybe that's the contract that you have with each other, is that you heal each other, you heal yourselves, very difficult stuff, right? And you reflect off of each other so you can see yourselves more clearly. And then you share the wisdom that you gain. Yeah. Although there is some restriction. Here we got restriction again. So where there's restriction, that's where you go back to yourselves and work on yourselves. The restriction in this relationship shows you where you have to heal in within yourself. And it has a lot to do with paying attention to emotions and collecting your fragmented parts. Both of you are using this situation where you see restriction in the relationship, whatever's holding you back from each other, whatever makes you not content anymore, whatever comes up as uncomfortable, that's where you go collect your own fragmented parts before you can come back together. Wherever there's some stress, and there may be some stress, this is causing you to go within yourselves and heal. This is how you are clearing karma. You're both clearing your own karma through this reflecting off of each other. If you're not directly in a relationship with this person, because I just got the feeling that you may not be, then it's just the seeing of each other, the knowing each other exists. There is love here. You know, as souls, I believe that you love each other very much, and that you set this up so that just knowing each other exists causes, or maybe even highlights the restriction for coming together, which causes you to go within to heal what is stressful, what is fragmented, and clear the karma of it. There's deep diving going on here. And coming together. Yeah. The purpose of this relationship is that you are in a relationship. Like, it's meant to be. This is a very meant to be relationship. It's a soul bond. And it's cycling through things that are, hi Hazel, allowing you to heal and allowing you to progress towards the ultimate goal of the relationship. There's so much wisdom being gained through the two of you reflecting off of each other and existing here on earth at the same time to form this third energy. This third energy that is formed when you two come together is so important for the earth. Gosh. Whoa. She's carrying her puzzles, and then she tripped because she was running. So isn't that interesting? Oh yes, very nice. Thank you. She's got this stack of wooden puzzles, and she just started running with them, but she stubbed her toe and fell, and she went, ah. And so I feel like that, like you have to go at a pace that is appropriate for you. You can't rush ahead. We got walk-in. So you're preparing your vessels for your highest selves to be embodied. That's what you're doing. You're clearing out all densities. You're collecting all fragments. You're clearing karma from every lifetime so that you can come and be the highest version of yourself in this lifetime. Come together and be the life of the party. It will be the party of a lifetime for this to happen. I mean, I just heard like miracles. There may have been different perspectives. There may have been parting of ways that had to go on in this. Things that caused you to, yes, part ways, to see things from different views, to look at pride, and to definitely cut this off. Like, oh, isn't that interesting? So after I just talked about this coming together and it being so important, then we get all kinds of things about parting ways and cutting it off. So if this has parted ways and this has been cut off, I don't believe it's supposed to be that way. We got acknowledge. We got in conjunct. Like, there's just difficulty in coming together that is there for a purpose. The restriction is there for a purpose, to cause the tension to be worked out within both parties. And a lot of this is happening with illusion. The confusion is driving you. Yeah, wow. Wow. Okay. Enough of that. Let's see, what can we do? What can you do to apply fair relating to this relationship? Remember to only take what is true for you, you know, out of what I said, because I said a lot of things from a lot of different angles. Only take what's a remembrance for you. This is just information for you to reflect on, and you'll know if it suits you and your situation. Okay? Let's see, we've got be still and listen. Okay? So with it, you don't have any control over them, but over you, you can be still and listen. So this is like listening to your inner thoughts, right? Then you got patience. Yeah. Especially if there's been a separation, there needs to be a lot of patience, and patience with yourself to work through these things. This is hard stuff. Like you're doing lifetimes of karma. You're collecting fragments that haven't been collected in a long time. This is amazing. I love this. You got part ways, so it is right to walk away at this time. It is right to walk away at this time. Yeah, I can't deny it. Look, we got it twice. Part ways, parting ways. Okay, so this is what I'm going to say about it. Actually, I'm going to get some more cards. You know what? I'm not. I was going to, and I was going to ask Spirit straight up, is this relationship meant to come together? Yes, I'm going to do it. And then I looked at these other cards, and it's like, drop your expectations and be a fool. And so I don't think they're going to tell me, because be a fool is be willing to go where others won't go, say what others won't say, be a pioneer, go into the unknown. They don't want you to know. That's part of it. That's part of clearing the karma, is you don't know. And maybe it's yet to be created, right? You're parting ways because parting ways is part of the karma that has to be cleared. You have to be able to part ways. This is a relationship that's very important and a soul level relationship, but parting ways is important because at least in one karmic cycle that was not able to be done. You didn't let go of each other when you needed to. I mean, look at, they're urging you, just do it, just do it, just go. You don't know what's going to happen, just part ways though. Drop your expectations, right? You have maybe expectations of coming together. They're saying drop that. How to be fair in this, how to balance out the energy, drop it. Look, when I asked, is this going to be coming together, it says surrender to win. And surrender means you don't know. Surrender means this is out of my control and I know it. So, throw my hands up, accept how I feel about it, and like go forward. And now and the last one is receive a deep breath. So look at the mastery that you have to have over your own self to be in this situation of unknown, knowing that it's a very high level, important soul bond that is very much serving you and humanity, that the energy was very important to be existing on Earth, but that you cannot be together and that you must part ways. I mean, that tells me that you have been here a time or two, that you've mastered a lot of things about Earth, and that you're going to need to use all that wisdom gained and all those skills you have to do this. This is like a balancing act that is important but difficult, right? Or you probably tried to do it in a lot of lifetimes, but this is the one you're going to do it in. Surrender to win. Surrender to win. Be a fool. You're not going to know the answer to this, but what it has been is what it was meant to be. What it is now is what it's meant to be now. Having expectations is not fair, okay? Because you are clearing karma. You are high-level souls. You are clearing your own karma, and you have agreed as souls to be a reflection to each other, to exist and to know each other exists, to give each other inspiration. That's it. That's what you can know about this. And be still and listen, because you'll have more to know there. Have patience with yourself, because there may be parts of you that are still screaming for this, that still want. Maybe there are codependent parts of you. Maybe there are parts of you that don't want to let it go, right? Because there's a lot of telling you to part ways, and if you've already parted ways and they've got to say that, then there's probably something keeping you from doing that. And so, be with that part of yourself. Love and accept that part of yourself. Take a deep breath, right? Because this is a big thing you're doing. You can afford to take a deep breath. You don't have to control this. You don't have to do anything except for tend to you, be still, listen to you, and be willing to go into the unknown without your expectations. You are going to be in the observer mode. Because, let's face it, you know the version of this person who has all the karma. You know the version of this person who has all that energy looping. But they are working on clearing their loops, just like you're working on clearing your loops. You're collecting your fragmented parts, they're collecting their fragmented parts. What that means is that you don't know each other anymore. You don't know the new version of them. They don't know the new version of you. Your souls are bonded. Your souls know each other. And other than that, on a 3D level, you don't even know if you're compatible, right? You don't know in what capacity that would be. Because the purpose of this, albeit so important, is to offer a reflection to each other so that you can clear karma and embody your highest selves. Okay? So drop those expectations, maybe even have gratitude for what this is, you know, and use it as a place to observe, not expect, and do that from a distance. Okay, but this is just energy to reflect on. So only take this if it feels true for you. If you feel like this is worth reflecting on, this is your story, this is a remembrance for you about what your soul knows already, then you can take this to reflect on. Only take the parts that are true for you, and only take it as a reflection because you know what's best for you. You know what is true for you, and I wouldn't expect that I could know better for you than you. Plus, this is a general reading, right? So it may apply to more than one person. Whoever watches this over time, this video will be up for a duration of time, and it's timeless. So whenever anyone finds it and it's right for them, it will apply to them. So just take what's true for you in that. There may just be parts of it that are pertinent to you. Okay? Okay. Thank you for being here on Earth. Thank you for doing that good work. What an amazing journey that you're on. And, wow. Yeah. I hope that's helpful in some way, and perhaps we'll see you in a future reading. Bye now.